For those of you who do not know me, my name is Doug Quenro, and the reason I'm making this video is because I'm running for the gubernatorial seat in Minnesota here in 2026. And the reason I'm making this video is because I'm a nobody and I have to get my name out there somehow, okay? And if you have any questions, just ask me to elaborate or to reiterate something, because I have to be very careful in how I word this, because I still have a boss. I still have to make a paycheck. I still have to pay my rent, because I'm basically living paycheck to paycheck, just like each and every one of you. So hear me out, ask me to elaborate, but here we go. One of my very first things I would do is assist in the deportation effort, because if I'm being honest, I'm not really trying to go to civil war with the federal government over people whose first act in this country was breaking our laws. And on that note, one of the next things I would do would be to abolish sanctuary cities and counties, because if I'm being honest, I'm not trying to go to civil war with the federal government because people want to break laws. Now, this one's going to be an obvious one, but reduce crime. However, I know everybody says it, but I'm serious. Change our state flag back to something that at least represents America. I'd like to reduce government jobs so that the, state of Minnesota is not one of the largest employers, and I'm guaranteeing you guys don't want that either. And here's why. It's because if the state is the largest employer or one of the largest employers, at one point they can turn that valve off unless you do exactly what they say, which is the big problem with welfare. Drastically reduce the amount of welfare given out in this state, because the only people who really need it are people who are physically unable to work, people who are too mentally unstable to work, or somebody who's like a single parent who doesn't want to go and spend $20 an hour on childcare to go make $19 an hour at work. That's understandable. Everybody else is off. Also, that doesn't mean that they don't have to work at all. That just means that they can't really work the typical 40-hour work week that most of us are forced to work. My goal would be to abolish income tax in general here in Minnesota. And the way I would do it is, first off, cutting a lot of those government employees who do nothing and do work that should be done by private companies that can turn around and pay revenue taxes to the government to help subsidize some of the things that you guys all want. Make women's spaces safe for women. Reduce regulations on new businesses so that people like my dad, who created his own handyman service, can make a business, not have to jump through a million hoops and be subservient to the government or these huge conglomerates that own everything. Go through the books line by line and find all the corruption, waste, fraud, and abuse conducted by our state officials. And trust me when I say I can get this done, because when I take my GED test, which was 2 years after I was supposed to graduate, I scored in the top 2% of the state for math. That means out of all the people graduating that year, I still scored in the top 2% of the state for math. Okay, and that never changed. So I'm not joking when I say numbers and patterns are my bread and butter. Fix our social services programs, because they're a mess. Okay, I can't even believe I have to say this one, but outright ban DEI, especially conducted by state employees, because it's already a violation of the Constitution. It is already disenfranchising certain people, and especially when I live in somewhere like Minneapolis that says they're going to hire based on race and fire based on race. That's not okay, no matter what race you are. Make it extremely difficult for all these hedge funds to buy up homes that turn around and bulldoze them, creating condos so that in 50 years nobody can own a home. Fight tooth and nail against forced experimental injections. Make it illegal for teachers to talk to your child about anything other than math, science, reading, English, or whatever it is that they're getting paid to teach them. Everything else needs to go through you as the parent and get proper consent from you as the parent. Otherwise, it's illegal. Ban certain unnecessary surgeries that are conducted on children. And most of all, make this state a beacon of God's will. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Trust me, this whole thing is filled with ideas. So if any of this resonated with you and you are one of these people who are sick and tired, just like I am, of people who don't understand what it's like to live every day as we live, who don't have to sit there and basically work paycheck to paycheck, who don't have to walk a mile in our shoes, who don't have to strap on their work boots every day. If you are sick of those people running the country and running the state, just hear me out. Okay, we're still over a year away from the primary. All you gotta do is stay tuned, because I guarantee if you liked what I had to say here, you're gonna like a lot more that I have to say in the future, because like I said, I have a whole book full of ideas and things that I've seen in this world in my 32 years of living on this earth that have pissed me off to the point where I'm doing something I never thought I would do, and that's try to be a politician. So stay tuned, there's a lot more coming.